Hi folks, I'm David Burkett, the convener of SNP Peterhead. Well, the First Minister has now named the date, requested the Section 30 order and preempted the UK government's inevitable legal challenge by going straight to the UK Supreme Court, while Boris's head is still spinning. The reaction from the other side has been, well, predictable. We are often told that by continuing to campaign for Scottish independence, that we are not respecting the will of the people in the first independence referendum in 2014. That we should just get over it and move on. There's just one problem with that argument, and it is that it's absolutely rubbish. This is the second in a series of films discussing how absurd this position really is. In this second film, I'm going to explain this by exploring the broken promises of Better Together, as well as how the Scottish electorate itself has changed since 2014. First, in ascending order, Better Together's top 5 broken promises. At number 5, leave the UK, don't leave the UK. Does anyone here really believe that our democratically elected representatives and our Parliament is respected and listened to at Westminster? At number 4, we'll give you the most powerful devolved parliament in the world. Actually, Northern Ireland has it, and when you look a little deeper into things, they've always had it. Added to which indignity, the powers that Holyrood currently has are being deliberately undermined, not least by the UK Internal Market Bill. At number 3, your pension is safer as part of the United Kingdom. Fast forward to 2022 and Boris Johnson's government has just removed the pensions triple lock. At number 2, the only way to protect your place in the European Union is to stay with the United Kingdom. But number 1, the worst promise Better Together ever broke. Boris Johnson will never be Tory leader, let alone Prime Minister. Those may not be the exact words of Better Together campaign director Blair McDougall, but they were the general thrust of his words, and that didn't age well. I generally like to stop at 3 bullet points as people lose the will to live. In this case I've done 5, but I reckon a top 10, top 20 or even top 40 is easily doable. But this isn't a chart show. It's clearly very fair to say that the UK that existed before the 2014 referendum was A, much more appealing place to live than the current version. B, is now a relic of a time long past. If any respect for that 2014 result is to endure, then the promises made to achieve it must also be respected. And it's as clear as the nose on my face that they haven't. Now, let's take a look at how our electorate has changed. Now, I don't have the facility to poll every voter in Scotland, so I'm going to cover this in the very simplest of terms: voter presence. And that has to begin with the sad realisation that we're all mortal, and that since September 2014, an estimated 330,000 adult Scots have died. Now, looked at dispassionately, that means that approximately 7.75% of the Scottish electorate of 2014 are no longer with us. But for every yin, there's a yang. And on the positive side, 496,000 young Scots have now reached voting age. Based on net inflow, 151,000 more voting age migrants have made Scotland their home. And again, based on net inflow, 56,000 more voting age people from other parts of the UK have moved to Scotland. That's 703,000 people, or 16.4% of the Scottish electorate. Now, added together, these two groups amount to a potential demographic shift of 24.15%. Now, when you consider the massive and surely now undeniably harmful material change in Scotland's circumstances, and that the UK that existed in 2014 was a much more appealing place to live, and we still came within 6% of leaving, and finally, that as near as makes no difference, we will have changed out a quarter of our electorate, or more than 4 times our losing margin, by October 2023, then surely we have the undeniable right to re-examine this question next year. Not to do so would disrespect democracy more, not just by doing a disservice to those who have voted for it, but also by removing an absolutely legitimate choice from the menu available to the wider electorate, many of whom are undecided, and a massive cohort of which who now have a tangible stake in our future, but if Boris and company have their way, are to be denied a say in it. That is anti-democratic in the extreme. We, on the other hand, believe in democracy. We also believe in treating you like adults. We believe in the right of the sovereign people of Scotland to reject or to choose independence. And we are confident that when that option is placed before Scots again, and you've listened to a positive case for a fairer, greener, healthier and more prosperous Scotland, that you'll choose it. Thanks for watching, folks.